United's inaugural cup winners. Chris Economidis wins the cup for Melbourne victory. Sydney FC then win the cup, and Macarthur for the second time are Australia Cup winners.
We are in the heartland of football in Australia. The southern western suburbs of Sydney and the Southern Districts Raiders are taking on Macarthur FC in what could be considered a bit of a local derby at the Fairfield Showgrounds. It may be a home away from home for the Raiders. They're not at Ernie Smith Reserve tonight, but they are at a venue that's going to hold 2,000 plus, and they are making their way in enthusiastically to watch this round of 32 showdown in the Hahn Australia Cup. It's the first time the Southern Districts Raiders have been to this national stage. They've taken some pretty big scalps along the way, including Blacktown City, who once upon a time knocked the Central Coast Mariners out of the Cup. While Macarthur, they are the defending holders and looking to lift this trophy for a third time. The journey starts quite close to home for them, a venue they train at, would you believe, and not that far from their regular home ground of Campbelltown Stadium. The lights are bright, the weather is chilly, but there is not a breath of wind, and conditions are looking near perfect for this one. The burning question is, can the team from the second tier, Football New South Wales League One, spring a surprise? They're on a 4-game undefeated run, and they were 2-0 winners against Inter Lions at the weekend. Charlie Ragg comes into the starters. Mihail Marcic moves to the bench. Watch out for the number 14, Noah Kianese. He's their top scorer in the league this season, 8 in the league, 1 in the cup for this Raiders outfit that is chasing promotion in a real nip-and-tuck battle to finish top of the New South Wales second tier. For Macarthur, the cup holders, there are plenty of departures. Since last time we saw a team sheet, Bowley, Holman, Adamson, Yakalish, De Silva, Makrilos and Voyetza have all left the club. From their best available squad, perhaps only Matthew Yerman missing tonight. The ins include Bernardo, Liam Rose and 3 new signings, Anthony Caceres, Harry Polititis and also Callum Talbot. And here come the referees leading both teams out of the tunnel here at the Fairfield Showgrounds. The pitch looks in good condition, and a hopeful crowd would love to see the SD Raiders spring a surprise. There has never been a second-tier team win in a cup set in the history of this competition. And so, if they were to find a way past Macarthur tonight, it would be the first time that a team from outside a top division NPL has done it. Of course, Macarthur have fallen to NPL opposition in the past. Metro Stars of Adelaide, the ones that got the better of them. But tonight, they come in as a very warm favourite, especially given that they have named a really strong team. There's a couple of youngsters on the Macarthur bench who would be familiar with this Southern District Raiders team. They actually met back in April in a 2-1 win for the Macarthur NPL side. And would you believe they meet again the weekend after next? Macarthur's own academy side are one of 7 teams still very much alive in the promotion race in Football New South Wales League One. It's Macarthur in their white away kit tonight, and the Southern Districts Raiders are playing in their dark green home kit. So handshakes taking place pre-game. And in these final stages before kick-off, the nerves that must be going through the Raiders players as they get set to take on an A-League opponent. Macarthur going into their team photo. Gives me a chance to welcome to the broadcast Roy O'Donovan, my co-commentator for tonight. Roy, great to see you again. And lots of intrigue, especially given that we've got the defending holders of the cup here, and they will not want to go out at the first hurdle of their title defence.
Well, Theo, it's my pleasure to be here. But yeah, it is an intriguing battle tonight we have on our hands. A local derby of sorts, a really good crowd here tonight. And I must say, having watched the warm-ups, both teams look excited. It feels like a fresh new season, but Macarthur certainly had their shooting boots on if the shooting practice is anything to go by.
Well, there are 2 stands here, and they are both near full. It's standing room only around the fence, and at the left of your screens, behind the goal, the hill is starting to fill up. So, pre-game, I was told to expect 2,500. We might get more. Jake Rose, he's from Sydney's West as well. So, local derby, local referee. Assistants for this one are Matthew Harris and Aaron Block, and the familiar face of Ben Abraham is the fourth official for this cup tie. There is the new man, Anthony Caceres, making the switch from Sydney FC. Certainly caused a lot of heartache for the Sydney FC fans. And he'll go and stand next to now Luke Bratton in a Macarthur midfield that's got two recently capped Socceroos in the Tony Popovich era. And so their dreams of going to the World Cup, they start with matches like this one tonight, and then what they'll be hoping are stellar A-League seasons to return their names or keep their names on the long list of the Socceroos. As for the SD Raiders, for many of their players, this will be the biggest night of their careers. For others, a return to the big stage and a chance to show what they're made of once again. And of course, having already taken the NPL scalps of Wollongong Wolves, Rockdale Linden and Blacktown City on their run to this national stage, they'll be hoping to be a permanent fixture by winning promotion to the NPL next season. That whistle gets us underway. And it is the Hahn Australia Cup, round of 32. The defending champions, Macarthur FC, up against the Southern Districts Raiders. And Tomislav Uskok is on the ball straight away. Harry Politides starting at left back. And when we saw the pitch map come in, Roy O'Donovan, we were speculating as to whether it would be a back five or a back four for Mile Stajovski and Macarthur tonight. And in these early exchanges of the game, I do think it is fair to say, we'll stay with play here as Bernardo Oliveira has half a chance, but a slight challenge from Ethan Bevan clears the ball. I don't think it's fair to say it is a back four and not a back five that the pitch map may have otherwise suggested.
Yeah, absolutely it did. Liam Rose was the one we weren't sure about. We've seen him play as a stopper previously for Central Coast Mariners back in the day, but it looks like he's going to slot in that number 6 spot alongside skipper Luke Breton.
Here's a chance on the ball for the Raiders for the first time, but they're coming from deep in their own half, and that is a welcome from Callum Talbot. Of course, it's his first showing in Macarthur colours, having made the switch from Melbourne City, returning to Sydney. Of course, he was previously a Sydney FC player, and he really let him know he was there with that foul. Yeah,
well, Charlie Wragg certainly knows he's in a game tonight, and Talbot will be wanting to show his new supporters what he's all about.
And so Raiders go backwards from the restart. Lachlan McGrath, and now a pass back to the goalkeeper, Michael Figueira. A sliced clearance is not going to be dealt with initially, and so, well, it was a half a chance, a brief window of opportunity for the Raiders to build it. Instead, a long ball over to Bernardo Oliveira, has him away. He's going to wait for the overlapping run of Harry Politides, who certainly had an eye for goal at Melbourne City last season. Not surprising to see him bomb forward then, especially fresh in these opening exchanges, but he's going to steady and slow things down. And Tomislav Uskok has got the young Sebastian Kerslovich next to him at the centre of defence tonight, just 18 years old, coming out of the Bulls Academy, previously a junior at Sydney United, so it's an exciting moment for him. He is quite a striking figure, though, Sebastian Kerslovich, in terms of his height. We know that Macarthur love a big, tall centre-back. They've had a few come through the club over their short time in the A-League. Well, they're going to be called into action right here, because this ball through the left might be the window of opportunity. Squared, and not squared successfully. It was Riley Cox-Barlow with the initial cross, and now the follow-up. Shouts for a handball. Referee disinterested. It was hopeful at best. Jonathan Sabatu trying to create a bit of chaos, but, well, the Raiders have shown us what they are capable of.
Yeah, well, it's beautiful football there, and Noah Chianese, who's been their danger man all season long, lovely little bit of vision, plays that ball in behind to Riley Cox-Barlow, and very close to an opener there.
And so the figure of Noah Chianese, he is the younger brother of Joel, who was an A-League striker at Sydney FC and Perth Glory, still playing over in the West, in the West Australian NPL. So, footballing family, younger brother, hoping to make his name here tonight. Bit of an Andy Carroll lookalike with the hairstyle he's gone for tonight.
Absolutely. Looks like a different kind of player, though.
Sobrado got to be careful with Politeides right on his case. And Bernardo is able to seize on a pass initially, but a challenge wins it back. Cox Barlow unable to take the ball with him. Bratton. And now Rose in space. Caceres. We know that he is a pace setter, a tempo setter in midfield. Did he get his ankles tapped? He did. A late whistle comes in. And Lachlan Everett not able to plead his case of innocence.
Yeah, well, we know Anthony Caceres has been doing that for years. He's been killing much better defenders than the guys out there tonight, but he's got great feet. And yeah, I really like the look of this Macarthur midfield, I have to say. Rose, Bratton, Caceres, Oliveira. Jesus, endless quality there. And that's the task for SD Raiders tonight, is trying to keep the ball away from these guys, because they're going to make you run. They'll move that ball about.
And they do have a few set-piece specialists. There is Mile Stajovski, the Bulls coach. Signed a new contract late last season that ensured his future for another 3 campaigns on paper. Here is Bratton with the free kick. Bending to the penalty spot, flick header. And it's going to be offside. The call coming from the outer by Aaron Block, an A-League regular assistant referee. And you hear the applause and the appreciation coming out of the grandstand. There's a great feeling around this ground tonight.
There's a really good atmosphere. There's a bit of excitement about this one tonight, and it started off like a pretty decent game. SD Raiders don't look overawed, which hopefully makes for a great spectacle.
But it's fine margins, especially hard against the line here. They've conceded possession in their defensive half, and so Rose and Talbot will restart here for Macarthur. Now Kurzlevich. Uskok, Politeides. Bratton calling for the ball in midfield, and Caceres, his movement, so hard to deal with. Bernardo, not daunted by taking on the defenders, and Sobrado more than equal to the task. Well played by Jonathan Sobrado, but the outlet pass wasn't quite on to Chianese there, and so Uskok mops up.
So I think Noah Chianese, unlike his brother, looks like a player that plays to feet. Joel, we all remember, being a very pacey guy in behind.
And speaking of in behind, that's 2 offsides now against Bulls FC. Bernardo, the offender on that occasion. Not called Harry Sawyer's name in the middle. He is a towering striker as well. I tell you, if you picked a starting 5 to go play hoops, this Macarthur team would be pretty daunting, Roy. But it means that it's set-piece situations, both attacking and defensive. They're going to be quite a menacing proposition.
Correct. Kurzlevich, Uskok, Harrison Sawyer. It's quite a challenge for SD Raiders tonight.
And they are looking to build from the back here. Switch of flanks over to Sobrado. He controls the ball down. Goes back to Ethan Bevan. Very experienced in the NPL with the likes of Wollongong Wolves and the Sutherland Sharks. Back to the goalkeeper, Figueroa. Sobrado, a hurried pass. Chianese up against Uskok. Did well to hold his ground, but the ball's been extracted by the Macarthur midfield, and Caceres with a quick turn rides a challenge from Chianese, and the referee let it slide. Play continues. Was that a handball there from Sebastian Malfara? The referee thought nothing of it, and so Politeides takes over. Malfara was the Raiders scorer when they met in the NPL Bulls Academy and the Raiders back in April, so he gets the start tonight. It's the only goal he's scored for them this season, so how he'd love to repeat the magic against the senior Macarthur outfit. Pass back here to Philip Curto. Politeides to Bernardo. Dragged back into the defensive half this time, and a back pass that caused a little bit of worry for Uskok, but he was confident in going to ground and timed his slide challenge. The Raiders are really hunting possession here. They've come out proactively in the game, trying to catch the A-League outfit cold. Bratton unfussed as he clears to Sawyer. Back to goal work was effective. Now over on the right flank, Talbot. Back inside for Rose. Bratton, look how high the wing-backs are getting for Macarthur here. Not afraid to almost create a front four at the present. Bernardo. Politidis. How organised and disciplined are Raiders behind the ball here. Bernardo cuts inside. A shooting channel open for him. And it was the right height, but he bent it well wide of the target.
Very, very unlucky. Nice positive play there. I think he touched on something there with Macarthur pushing the fullbacks up really high, really wide. They want to control the ball and they want to put you under pressure. And if they can overload in the wide areas, the aerial threat they have in the box with Harrison Sawyer with the pace of Economidis, yeah, it's a hell of a tester tonight for the Raiders.
Muskok saw that one all the way in the air. Caceres has currently got Sebastian Malfera following him like a shadow when he's in the midfield third, but he's been left to his own devices here just to drift down to left back. And that is because Harry Politidis is so far up the pitch. Rose, Bratton, caught in a tangle. Now a chance for Raiders. Can they move? Everett's pass. Seized upon by Cox Barlow. The underlapping run, promising from Cooper Hannigan. Promising, but out. And that's why you didn't see Chianese swing a foot at that loose ball in the box, because it had run well beyond the byline.
Yeah, but again, good play. I think with Raiders, you can definitely tell they work on their patterns of play an awful lot. They try and overload themselves in the wide areas, and the likes of Hannigan and Sabat, who so far they've been getting forward plenty.
It's worth remembering that they are, as we see a very risky pass here from Macarthur, will stay with play. They're trying to seize upon it. Charlie Ragg. He takes over the ball and now cuts it back. Hannigan. Cooper Hannigan with the shot and a save. It's a shot on target, but comfortable work for Philip Curto.
Yeah, he eats those for breakfast. But again, good from the Raiders. As I said, they're not being overawed.
Of course, it's the week that Happy Gilmore 2 came out, Roy O'Donovan. I'm not sure if you're thinking about what Philip Curto eats for breakfast.
Shoot him, Gavin.
Magic of the cup. So, ball played back here to Curto. Now, Sebastian Kerslovich, what a moment for him. He's started 17 games in the NPL this winter. As we see the ball popped over the top. A chance for Cox Barlow to cause some trouble. Cox having none of it and clears away. It's worth remembering that the Raiders are 25 league games and 5 cup ties into their season. So this is match 31 for them tonight. And that really is match hardness, and they will be feeling like they can catch out an A-League team in their first competitive hit-out. The hot days of summer feel a long way away. That attack, though, breaks down rather tamely. Sawyer dragged deep into his defensive half. Bratton with a switch. Sobratu. Oh, this could be awkward for the keeper. He's going to judge it very nicely, though, for Guerra. Off the boot, that looked like it might have had just a little bit more than Sobratu had bargained for. Puts it on the head of Kerslovich. Caceres. Bratton. Curto. Macarthur have passed their way around their defensive quartet, and now Sawyer with the little knock-off that was not seized upon by Caceres, and so in the other direction, Malfera is going to shoot from distance, but it's not quite the spirit of Liam Boland as it's held by Curto.
I like it though. I like the ambition. I like the confidence. Riley Cox Barlow had made a great run in behind. He didn't look, but good play.
Macarthur trying to move through Rose. Sawyer back to goal. Still looking for the right link-up man. Rose eventually got to the ball. Caceres. Politidis. Caceres. A little sidestep to the left, but he's looking at a 1-on-2 if he goes to the flank. So Bernardo's there to help him out. Politidis, Sawyer calls for the cross. It didn't quite have the elevation though, and it's headed away. Well defended at the centre of defence by James Letter. Bernardo. It is going to be a Macarthur ball.
See, that's a cheap free kick to give away, especially with the firepower that they have from set pieces.
Just a rolling start. It was very quickly taken, and Caceres not able to make the most of it. So a cheap free kick to give away, and then even cheaper giving it back. And the Raiders won't mind that because they now have possession on the right side of midfield. Uscock wins the header. That's an aerial back and forth. Macarthur, Sawyer with a bit of physicality, but not able to actually keep possession. Ethan Bevan back to his goalkeeper. And Figuera sails that out to his bench, where the manager, Goran Luboya, is really riding every kick of the ball at the moment. Milo Stajovski, by contrast, standing with his arms crossed. Both teams think it's their throw, and it's Macarthur who get the decision. Caceres. A diagonal ball is hopeful. Bit of a pop-up header, and Talbot! Oh, what a shot, and an even better save. And the crowd shows their appreciation for Michael Figuera as he tips it out for a corner.
Well, it's a fantastic save, and one he needed to make as well. Caceres, very clever player, always looking for that run on the outside. We thought it was cut out. Really good defended by Hannigan, but Talbot, didn't he hit it sweet? As we see here in the replay, eye on the ball. And what a great save from Figuera.
He's pumped up. And Talbot is now the furthest man back in defence, so he won't be part of this attacking corner. His teammates will, though. Can they use that height advantage? In swinger, Figuera, he palmed it at the very last second and concedes a corner on the opposite side of the pitch.
Yeah, slightly different to his last save, but got the job done. Unorthodox, but again, here we go. Now we got Uscock, we got Kurzlevich, and we got Harrison Sawyer lining up in the bus stop, ready for the big delivery.
That last corner wasn't really close to any of them. So is this one on the money? Repeat corners. And it falls to Kurzlevich, and it really more just rolled off his midriff rather than any sort of solid contact. And that means it's a goal kick.
Yeah, I think they got in each other's way there. All the big timber in the box, they just they stood in each other's toes. They done SD Raiders' job for them.
What stage of pre-season, Roy, do you think set-piece routines start? Is it entirely up to the coach, or do you like to have a base of fitness and sharpness before you start working on your corner kick and your free kick routines, or are there some coaches that it means enough to them that they'll bring it in day one?
Yeah, well, I've played for a few coaches, especially in the UK, that we done day one. You ran a lot and you worked on set pieces, but I think Mile is the type of coach, it's about their style of play first and foremost, and the set pieces would come last. Just looking at the night so far anyway.
So far, referee Jake Rose has been happy to let things play out. He's been almost a little bit delayed on the whistle to see if advantage can be taken. This time, Raiders are happy to take the free kick backwards. Figuera slices his clearance, and Sobrato did his level best to try and keep it in and avoid conceding the throw-in, which will now be taken quickly. Politidis, and an energetic challenge coming in from Macarthur, putting it out for a throw. Bernardo. Here's Economidis trying to roll his marker, and it caught a little deflection on its way into the keeper's gloves. Chris Economidis not overly prominent in the game so far, but his evasiveness will be key. He can pop up in a goal-scoring position if the defence aren't awake to his presence. From the last line of defence, here's Bevan. Sobrato coughed up, Bratton, Politidis. And now Caceres, he's got Economidis ahead of the ball, but he wants to look further afield. Sends it over to the right flank. Talbot tried to wheel onto a cross from deep. It was deflected, and thus he's going to have to go chasing here. Hannigan committed to the ball. It's spilt kindly and now popped over the top. And it's rattled between the Macarthur centre-back, Suscock, with a comfortable clearance. And now they will consolidate on the ball. But crucially, Southern Districts have avoided conceding the early goal.
That is the positive of it. I think at the moment, though, Macarthur are starting to get a handle on the rhythm of the game. And I think Raiders could do without that.
Ball over the top for Talbot. He can't quite meet it in stride. He goes to ground under the challenge of Cooper Hannigan, who we've already seen is a pretty uncompromising customer. And now Talbot gives it back in equal measure. But he does so in a way that the referee and the fans do not like. And if you want to become a villain, there's no better place to do it than right in front of a full grandstand. Well,
absolutely. I think, in fairness so far, Jake Rose, the referee, he's let a lot go. I think Talbot there, a bit of frustration was the little bit of a lash out there. He thought it was a guaranteed free kick. And Hannigan dangled the bait. Talbot took it.
There is Goran Laboya on the right. Restart of play. A little flick on was attempted there by Charlie Ragg, but couldn't find a teammate. Braddon caught in possession. Now a chance. Cox Barlow. Short-lived in possession before Krislovic took it off him.
I think that'll be a lot of Goran Laboya's frustration so far, as they're winning the ball back really well, but they're not stringing 2 or 3 passes together. And, you know, you keep giving the ball away to a team of Macarthur's undoubted class, they're going to make you pay, and they're going to punish you by making you run around an awful lot. And I think that'll be the difference as the game goes on. That quality and maybe that the fitness levels is going to have a big bearing on this game.
Well, where this game is level for the holders, it's safe to say that the defending premiers of the Isuzu Ute A-League men's have not been in a merciful mood. They've already netted twice against the Gold Coast Knights. So the other games are scoreless, and we've got a bit of a later kickoff coming up tonight with Olympic Kingsway hosting the Melbourne Victory. So a swathe of A-League teams in action. But so far, only one of them has found the back of the net. Sawyer, flick header, but it's all Raiders at the fall of the ball. Pass into midfield, caught a couple of them flat-footed. Rose was bustling through, couldn't make the most of it, but it is going to be a throw-in. Talbot, Bernardo, part of the winger swap that Macarthur have actioned fairly early in this game, sending Economides to the left and Bernardo to the right. Here is Caceres. And again, his shadow followed him every step of the way, Malfra, but at the expense of conceding a corner, some protestation, but it's another corner kick coming up for Macarthur.
Yeah, he's unfortunate there, but he's doing a really good job. Malfara and Lachlan Everett there in those number 6 roles, they've got a vital role to play, protecting their back 5 as it was, but also when they get the ball back, servicing Sheen Azy and Riley Cox Barlow up in that number 9 spot. They've got a really pivotal role in this game.
So another in-swinging corner, honing it on the near post. Batted down and caught on one bounce by Figuera. He did well to command his airspace. And now the release. Is this the chance for Raiders? It's breaking and bouncing kindly. Cox Barlow was waiting in the middle, but the cross is blocked. They can't ponder too long on the ball here, Macarthur. Bratton's a composed presence, though, and he's able to clear to Politides off the shoulder. Presents the chance for Raiders to win the ball back, and they do. Figuera, long clearance. Chianese gave himself up offside, and perhaps he was standing in the way of where Riley Cox Barlow was hoping to break into. They've had all their joy in an attacking sense coming down the left flank so far.
Definitely. I think Charlie Ragg, his unselfish running has been causing all sorts of problems for Macarthur in that left-hand channel there. And the pace of Riley Cox Barlow up top as well, that's going to be a threat if they can use it right.
Uskok. Bratton, early ball on his left. Politides sprinting after it, able to dink it to his own advantage. And then a really good stand-up challenge comes from Lachlan McGrath. The pass not equal to the tackle, and so the defending will continue. But it was a good tackle. Talbot. Bernardo. A little bit of a swivel of the hips, but he can't find a gap to exploit. And then his pass sold Rose into a bit of trouble, but Macarthur will be bailed out by a throw-in.
Yeah, and they've done that very well. Lachlan McGrath is the latest one. He's won the ball back, and instead of finishing it, a little bit of end product, a little bit of quality, he hits it straight back to Macarthur, and it's like waves of attack.
Caceres from a standing start. Krislovic. Sawyer tried to connect to the end of the pass, but not to be. Everett went for the instant counter. Krislovic able to block it down. Switch to Politides. Sobrato committed, but there's no gap. The Raiders defence moved across. They had the numbers. Bevan was covering. Caceres. Can he find the right pass? He's looking at nothing but green shirts at the moment. Now he's looking for Sawyer. Sawyer brought it down. Second touch wasn't there. The first was. The second wasn't. Talbot. Squares it. Bernardo kept his feet. And a line of defenders are able to block away. They're withstanding the pressure for now, the Raiders. Politides. And he's forced all the way back to Tomislav Uskok. I feel like this is an important tactical stand here for the Raiders. If they can avoid conceding a shot on target at the end of this phase of what is already 3 Macarthur surges without the ball going out of play, it'll fill them with so much confidence. Bratton uncorks a diagonal ball. It's brought down by Hannigan. He's going to break out of defence. Backs his speed here. A lung-busting run, and it ends with a good challenge from Krislovic to win the ball. And now he's out of position, so late challenge comes in. The referee holds the whistle, gives advantage. And there's an injured player down, Liam Rose, in back play, but the attack continues in the meantime. Politides. Economides. Rose is back on his feet. That's the good news. Bratton back to Uskok. Rose restored to full faculties. It looked like a potentially ugly tangle, but after a cry, which we heard across the pitch, he's been able to get himself back up and continue on without any issues. Politides from a central position. Caceres lurking on the left. Bratton. Politides. Now Economides. Caceres. Bernardo off the crossbar. Can the Raiders get it to the touchline? They can. Exhale. What a phase of play.
Oh, it's beautiful football. The movement was fantastic. Caceres getting turned in the box. Economides. Oliveira's late run. And here we have it. Lovely ball. Economides. Caceres gets turned. He waits. Beautiful weighted pass. Oliveira does everything but score. And the Raiders survive a minute. Get a breather out here now.
That was a long phase where it was just all-out concentration on the defence, and Macarthur still found a way through, only to be foiled by the crossbar. The Raiders just couldn't get the ball back, but they're going to here. Cox Barlow over the head of Chianese.
How often have we seen Caceres get into those positions, and his final ball, more often than not, is inch perfect, and Bernardo Oliveira there will be so disappointed with himself because he will have felt he'd done everything right. The crossbar tells a different story.
He's missed so much football with injury, and when he was at Adelaide, wasn't always in favour, Bernardo, but we know what his best looks like. He's been able to produce it in Macarthur colours in his time at the club, and of course his younger brother Enrique has now joined him. Expect at some point during the season he'll break through for regular minutes in the A-League. Of course, Macarthur only just today announcing the sale of Jake Holman to Walsall in England, so another exit, another opportunity, and another door opening in this team that's been prolific in exporting talent. And it's Bratton's turn to commit a foul, and where Raiders have been willing to leave a boot in, this time it's Lachlan Everett who feels it the other way.
Yeah, well, NPL 2, as you well know, is quite a physical. There's some beautiful football, but there's a lot of physicality as well, so they're bringing that on show tonight.
Everett. Sweeping diagonal ball, Sobrato. We've not seen anything from him really in an attacking sense yet, and we won't get to here either. Shouts for a corner are heeded though, so he's done well with a tough pass to retrieve. And what do the Raiders have in store from us at a corner kick? Doesn't seem to be a great deal of shouting from the bench, and Sebastian Malfra is taking plenty of time to wander over to the red corner and send this in.
I don't blame him. They've had a tough probably 5-7 minutes there under the cosh. They've just survived it, so this is his chance to get his oxygen back in.
So here's Malfra. He's going to sweep it back. Everett tumbling into the box. It's hooked on. Uscock's header, not quite away yet. Defensive header across the face. Rag. And now across. It's going to divot the back post. Not before it had sailed out, though. Malfra, the original corner taker, not quite able to pinpoint it. Charlie Rag chasing and trying to apply the press, and Harry Sawyer is coming back from an offside position. So Sawyer hasn't quite had the service so far tonight. He's been limited in his involvement in the game, and 3 offsides now for Macarthur in this half.
Yeah, and they've slightly altered things now as well. They've gone with Harry Sawyer on his own up top. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, Sawyer, this might be a good chance for him here. Figueroa has been caught out of his penalty area. It's only defenders back in goal. And Macarthur do score. It's been a gaffe and a bit of a disaster for the Raiders, unfortunately for them. And the resistance is broken. And the opening goal of the game is for Bernardo Oliveira. He wasn't able to score from a moment of beauty, but he does find the net in a moment of chaos.
Yeah, look, it's a real shame for SD Raiders. I thought they got through a tough patch. They're comfortable here. Heavy touch. Harrison Sawyer closed it down. Unselfish from Caceres. And Oliveira just done enough after missing that chance a couple of minutes ago. He put it right there. 1-0 Macarthur. And you've got to really feel sorry for Figueroa there, because he's been excellent so far in this game.
I tell you what, Goran Luboya saw it coming on the bench. He was blowing up that his team took the free kick backwards before the back pass that came unstuck for the keeper. He knew that trouble was brewing, and unfortunately it ended in the worst possible result, conceding a goal. He's right though.
I mean, you're playing against a team that's, you know, a better quality, a higher calibre than you're used to, playing their half. And that ball back to the goalkeeper, really, it's a nightmare. Shin height, bouncing around. Yeah, they'll be kicking themselves.
And so the cup holders have the lead. It's taken them just over half an hour to break through. And how will that change how they go about playing in this game? They've been so willing to commit Talbot and Politides up the pitch from their wing-back positions. Will they be a little bit more conservative now? Or will they hunt a second with the same fervour? Well, Talbot almost gave us an answer. Letters header. Bratton. Economidis. Talbot. Caceres. You wouldn't know it's his first competitive game at the club. He's come in and he's just taken the reins. And he's sliding a pass out to the right here. Letter. Only as far as Caceres. Rose. Macarthur trying to up the ball speed. And that's a good challenge coming in from Cox Barlow, but the afters is enough to lead to a free kick. Some 6 or 7 metres from the edge of the box.
Get it in the mixer. That'll be the shout from Miele. But yeah, it's a free kick. Cox Barlow, yeah, it's not exactly shoulder to shoulder. Forced the decision in the second point with Bratton's cleverness. But you look at Bratton and Caceres in there in the midfield. Obviously, they spent a lot of time together at Sydney FC. It's like the old married couple back together again. They know each other's strengths, they know each other's flaws, and they're running this game right now.
Can they find something at a free kick? Bratton whips it in, and that's an own goal. It's really unfortunate for the Raiders. Cooper Hannigan was up highest, and I suspect it's his header, which we will be credited against the score sheet. Bratton's free kick proves too spicy to deal with, and it's 2-0 to Macarthur.
Yeah, great delivery. Definitely forced the issue. Who got the final touch? Was it Letta? The skipper got the final touch on it. A bit of backspin on the ball from Bratton. A little touch here, and yeah, that's unfortunate for Letta. And the game really in the last 3 minutes is turned fully in Macarthur's favour now, and it's all uphill now for SD Raiders, unfortunately.
So, 2 defenders headed into one another, and it ends up in the back of the net. The goalkeeper stranded. And you feel as though whatever competitive tension may have been in the game has well and truly flown out of the stadium here, because a couple of goals 4 minutes apart have Macarthur in the driver's seat. And now Malfara is trying to find a way past Caceres, and eventually he wins a free kick. He went and clattered through Rose after the whistle had already gone. Talbot. Rose to Bratton.
Just very comfortable for Macarthur now. It's just taking the sting out of the game, and it's almost turned into a little bit of a training game now. They're just knocking the ball around. They're making the Raiders run, burn that energy, and they're a bit in cruise control.
I suppose the one thing that the Raiders might be hoping for is that there's maybe a bit of a mental switch off from Macarthur. We don't know how many minutes of intensity they did have in the legs coming into this game, so a range of subs could potentially disrupt them in the second half. Have I convinced you?
Not at all.
Have I been able to sell you on the potential of the Raiders halving the deficit and maybe?
I apologise to you. No, you haven't turned my mind here. But if they can keep it at 2-0, they might have a glimmer of hope. But I fear not.
Oh, they really will want to avoid a third before heading to the rooms at half-time. Otherwise, it will feel like the game is beyond them. As we see a foul here, even the freak occurrence of a red card or an unexpected injury or something that really derails Macarthur. It's looking like they're a team in cruise control, as you say, at the moment. And Bratton, having already caused chaos with one free kick, now gets a chance to do so again. And Harry Sawyer had a little word for him there about perhaps a plan that they have hatched over this dead ball.
what do you reckon that plan is? I'm 6'6". Can you hit me at the back stick on my head? That's probably about as technical as it gets there, Theo.
Well, he's in a triangle with Uskok and Kerslovic, and it looks as though it was Kerslovic who ended up being the main target, header away from McGrath, and that allows the Raiders to escape their penalty area, but not much more. Talbot is going to twist across back in, and it was attacked boldly by Economidis, but he couldn't actually get a goal-bound header. Politidis charges through, takes it off Sobratu, cuts it across, and Letta, he's not taking a backward step. No loss of confidence after the own goal as he clears away. But they remain pinned back at the top of their defensive penalty area here. Southern Districts. Caceres can't quite find a gap to push it into. Sobratu. An improvisation to loop the ball away from Malfora, but now he's been bypassed. Economidis with a bender, and he nearly dropped it next to the right-hand post, just on the wrong side.
Yeah, worked a try there. Economidis, he's been starved of possession for long parts of this game, so he got a little bit of an opening there. Like any good striker, take it on.
Long ball down the left. Kerslovic is going to concede 10 metres with that clearance, but the throw-in was always the intention.
That's a definite tactic from Raiders, though. I think they've seen the team line up, and I think they've gone. Kerslovic hasn't played a lot of first-team football, so they've seen that opportunity there as the weakest link possibly in the team.
Sawyer, hearing the shouts from all the advancing runners, he bided his time, and he got caught in possession in the end. Hannigan, back to Letta. Bevan. Through comes Economidis. Now Sawyer. Bratton. Caceres and Rose bringing their own ball just for a little bit of back and forth, and now breaking out into open space on the right side. Talbot has had a strong first half. He ducks in after fainting here. Back for Bratton. Resists the urge to shoot from distance. Politidis bending it to the penalty spot. Big handful of shirt on Harrison Sawyer there. It's a big shirt. He's a big lad, and ultimately his header goes wide.
Yeah, because he's so big, I think sometimes he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt from the referees, you know. But I must say, so far in this game, I've been really impressed with how Macarthur used their fullbacks, their wing-backs. Politidis and Talbot, real outlet for them.
Well, they're a team that has every incentive to defend this cup. It means something to them. Two-time winners already. They'd love to defend it and go back-to-back. Not a surprise to see they're almost the strongest available team on paper rolling out in the first round of the season, and I only say that because of the resume of Matthew Yerman, who's not in the matchday squad tonight. Caceres. Economidis beaten to the ball here. Cox Barlow, a tough chase, and Bratton eventually works it out in a triangle here with Politidis and Economidis, and he can advance. Through ball here for Sawyer. Flag is up, and right at the end of the first half, it is a fourth offside flag of the game for Macarthur. So, halftime team talk for Macarthur. The round of 16 is the weekend after next, so do you think we'll see an hour plus from most of the players that have started tonight? Could we see a swathe of subs at halftime, or do you think it will come a little bit later in the night?
Yeah, I think a little bit later. I think this is really good competitive football for them. Oh, here we go.
Another giveaway could be deadly here. Bernardo's got one. He wants to turn provider. Sawyer not able to capitalise. Now for a hurried pass. Sobratu tried to head it to his own advantage. Politidis to Bratton. And he eventually does bring a bouncing ball under his command.
Bratton and Caceres, for any young kids watching the game at home, watch how calm they are, how much they trust their technique. It's great to watch.
Caceres, what's he like on a crossing situation? He's going to wheel right around and decide a pass is perhaps the answer. He's going to shoot from distance. Oh, saved. Figueira, he's had a couple of nice saves in the half. Unfortunately for him, he has mixed it in with a couple of moments that he'd rather forget. As we see a free kick here that will allow Southern Districts to emerge out of their defensive third.
But isn't that the worst part of being a goalkeeper? He's had a pretty good game, but the thing we'll all remember is the back pass that he didn't get right.
Well, the save from Talbot earlier in the half was a great highlight. The sort of thing that might have suggested that the Raiders were on for the night. Instead, some of the giveaways are becoming higher and higher up the pitch and becoming more and more frequent too. And that A-League level of concentration and fitness might just be starting to show at the end of the half here. Chris Economidis whips it across. It's Sawyer, and it's off the woodwork, and Figueira able to leap onto it gratefully after it kissed the post.
Lovely ball from Economidis, and Harrison Sawyer pulled off his man at the back stick, done everything right, back across the goalkeeper the way it came, and he might have just kept SD Raiders in it for a little bit longer.
Well, they've got to survive 1 minute until half time. Sawyer having a collision with Malfra here.
But for me, Sturjovski, he'll want to see a lot more of that this year. I think the back end of last season, the service they got to Harrison Sawyer and the goals he scored, he's just a really good outlet, because they've got a lot of lovely technical footballers now in midfield. But you know, when plan A isn't working, it's always good to have a plan B, and I think with Harrison Sawyer, that kind of style of that old-fashioned number 9, he definitely fits that bill.
Well, it was perhaps also reflected in knowing that they would need to play a little differently this season with the imminent departure of many. We'll see Caceres here to Bernardo. Caceres, edge of the box. We've seen him fire once. This time he wants to pass. He's not going to find a teammate. Whistle in the mouth for the referee. And at half-time, it is Macarthur firmly in control. The cup holders put out a solid first 45. With that said, it wasn't the most convincing first half an hour, Roy O'Donovan, but they did make it a game very much their own, with 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes just after the half-hour mark. We will analyse and discuss it all during the half-time break, because right now it is Southern District Raiders 0, Macarthur FC 2.
What are you doing?
We're planking.
It's because of our internet providers.
We're stuck in 2011.
Same slow internet speeds.
And high prices.
It's like a nightmare.
Enough planking. Superloop is a network purpose-built for the super-fast future of the internet. You are free.
Don't take it lying down, Australia. Refresh your internet.
You are free.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me now for a very special part of the evening. We have a march for football clubs from the Southern District Football Association. Please show them some love. Coming through first are the Estienne Raiders. Moorbank Sports Club. Waving the very nice flags, AC United.
Running, but if they can get in there and if Goran Laboya can kind of galvanise them and say, guys, we only get one crack at this, let's play in their half, let's put that ball in behind and let's get Charlie Ragg and Riley Cox-Barlow chasing the lost causes, and can we get Noah Chinese on the ball in these pockets a bit more and really force the game upon Macarthur?
Well, we'll find out shortly. We're off to a quick break, and when we return, the second half of this clash in the Hahn Australia Cup. So a bit of the match action from the first half of this Hahn Australia Cup tie, where Macarthur certainly dominated possession and territory and created the most of the chances, and they did ultimately break through. That would have been a beautiful goal. The two goals we did see weren't quite as aesthetically pleasing, but Macarthur won't mind. Their cup defence has started strongly, and they enjoy a 2-goal buffer at the Fairfield Showgrounds. Both teams have had all of their bench having a kick around on the pitch during the halftime break. Both coaches are still making their way across the field to the respective benches. So Roy O'Donovan looking at the Macarthur bench. It's a pretty young team. Walter Scott's the only player really in his mid-20s. You've got Oliver Randazzo and Dean Bosniak, who were recent members of the young Socceroos, and then even less experienced players, Josh Demevsky, Zane Hillway, who's having a good season, 14 goals in 18 games in the NPL, and also youngster Will Mackay, who's only 19 years of age, on the bench. So I guess there's quite a gulf for Mile Stojovski in that he's got some veterans, he's got some guys in the prime of his career, but then as soon as he goes to a replacement, there is a huge drop-off in terms of the level of experience that he's got to call upon. And I imagine the remaining weeks of the transfer window before the A-League season is where he might be trying to build a bit more depth into his team.
Well, absolutely, but I think it's a great opportunity to blood some youngsters, especially if they can score a goal here in the next 10 or 15 minutes to really seal the tie and give people some game minutes. You know, they've been working hard in pre-season. They want to feel like they're part of the squad, and what better way than to blood them.
There's been a halftime change. The number 17 you see there, Luka Knezovic, is coming on, and he is on for Noah Kianese. So the top scorer in League One for this Southern Districts Raiders team has made way at halftime. Knezovic is a similar height. He's a ganglier prospect, and we'll see if he's able to change the point of attack for this Raiders team and potentially lead them to a goal that could halve the deficit and get this home crowd cheering, because they've had a great turnout here, the Raiders, and you can't help but think that as we get the second half underway, that if they do go on to win promotion in NPL New South Wales at the end of the winter season, that maybe a lot of these fans will be coming back to enjoy watching them play in the future. But they'd love a goal to remember tonight by. And straight from kickoff at the start of the second half, Letter's pass is repelled. Bernardo Sawyer, first touch not quite there for him. He's legged himself, and it runs down to Michael Figuera. So just the one change at halftime. Macarthur starting with the same 11 that started the match.
Yeah, I wonder, was that an injury to Kianese? Because the first 20 minutes of the game, when he was getting the ball in pockets, they were finding him. He looked like, you know, a decent outlet. So I wonder, is it a tactical or is it an injury substitution?
Ball down to the left side of attack, and this is the Raiders' first venture forward of the second half. Knezovic, getting to see him on the ball. McGrath. And now Bevan over to the right side. Sobratu was really prominent in the first 10-15 minutes, trying to get something going down the right, but all the joy in attack was largely down that left side for Southern Districts. Hannigan, their left back, and then Charlie Ragg, their left winger. Ragg is in a more central position at the moment, but the ball's not coming his way because Uskok has taken possession. And now Harry Politides with the ball from deep. Headed away by Sobratu. Straight to Bratton. He's following up. Sawyer's moving ahead of the ball, as is Caceres. Caceres lays it out to the left. Economides fashions across, over the head though of Sawyer, and dealt with at the back post by Hannigan, off the chest, and then it was cleared away by Lachlan Everett. Pass here for Bernardo, red alert now for the defence, and first touch straight into the keeper's gloves off the boot of Anthony Caceres.
Yeah, everything Anthony Caceres touches tonight is bringing either a chance, a shot and goal, or a goal. And it's only a matter of time, I think, before they start to get Harrison Sawyer some of that service that he does enjoy on his head in the 18-yard box.
Pass here to Knezovic. You could just see the lift and intent from the Macarthur players to try and hunt the ball and win it back, but he protected it well enough. And now Figueira roaming out of his penalty area. Long ball straight to Talbot. Rose to shouts of his name. And it's been won back by Knezovic here. Sebastian Malfora. He's not going at pace. He's going to slow things down. And Roy, you saw a chance to do it a little differently.
Absolutely. I think that's when they give Macarthur a chance to settle and to get back into shape and get structured, that's where they're going to have a problem. They have to really seize the game now, and when there's a half chance, they got to go forward quickly.
Callum Talbot. You can hear the shouts coming from midfield. Push him back was what Charlie Ragg was encouraging to his teammates, but they only went backwards to go forwards here. Macarthur cut inside. Politides. And he's played through Sawyer. Sawyer one-on-one, and he buries the finish. Appeals for offside from the Raiders' defence, but the flag stays down, and Harrison Sawyer makes it 3-0 to Macarthur.
Yeah, and it's a really good striker's goal, to be fair. Raiders tried to press the ball very high, and once Politides got the ball, it kind of opened up for him. And then a lovely splitting pass there. Sawyer kept himself on side, and a lovely finish, and that'll get his confidence going nicely for the new season. But Uscock into Oliveira. Politides done all the rest. Lovely ball, split the defence, no offside, good finish. Game, set and match, you'd feel now, Teo.
I think at least Sabratu, maybe a second defender, was playing Harry Sawyer onside there. So they may have appealed, but it was forlorn hope. And Sawyer, who, back pass here, could cause chaos again. Figueira able to trap it and clear it in the nick of time before history repeated with Sawyer closing him down. But Sawyer was starved of opportunities in the first half, but you know he didn't have to wait for a big man's chance there. We saw him have one looping header in the first half, but that was just fairly conventional centre-forward play, wasn't it?
No, absolutely. He's kept himself on side, which was probably what Miele would have been saying at half-time. You've been cut off once or twice too many. He's kept himself on side. He's trusted the process. Politides, who's been having a terrific game, split the defence, and yeah, it was a nice finish. Really good movement, and he gave Michael Figueira no chance.
Well, while we watch the Raiders play the ball around their defence here, I might ask you about Harry Politides, because he's made the move to Macarthur. I mean, leaving the City Football Group is always a big decision, and it's not like he was short on game time and opportunities there, but I guess he's an unquestioned starter, and just on the evidence already, we've barely had an hour of it, but it looks like as though he's going to have an absolutely vital role. This is a team that said goodbye to Keely Adamson last season. Yanni Nicolau has left the club and gone back to the NPL in New South Wales, and they're such prolific sellers, Macarthur, that Politides has probably come here and thought, oh, stay with play here, as Uscock against Cox Barlow. Uscock went to ground. The ball went out. What's the call? It went out for a goal kick. Bit of an anticlimax there for the Raiders. But just to finish on the point on Politides, I imagine he's thinking, you know, he has a good 6 months. He could be sold in January. I'm not trying to, Macarthur fans, I'm not trying to sell him as soon as he's come in the door. But, I mean, this sort of form is really a signal of his intent and where he wants to take his career.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Miele is probably the perfect coach, because he's shown he can get the best out of players, and he's happy to sell them on, because he, you know, his recruitment has been really good. But Politides, he fits the profile for Macarthur. He's young, he's quick, he's athletic. And you know what? He's got a good football IQ as well, as we can see from that assist for the last goal.
Well, they had to replace both Vujica, who left on a free transfer. Destination remains unknown. He's been out on a free for 3 weeks. And also Adamson, who's gone to QPR. So they had to find 2 new fullbacks. And so far, so good. Here go Macarthur again. Economides, the cut back into the middle. Will it set up kindly? It won't. Everett is first to the ball. And he is able to shimmy away to the left side of the penalty area he's defending. Long pass will be reined in, though, by Bratton. And the other wing back that we mentioned is Callum Talbot. After a bit of deliberation, Talbot and Rose have successfully worked the ball out into open field. Here is Harry Politaitis. He plays it to the left, and Chris Economides, who's come into the game. Little back pass, not quite to the advantage of Bratton, but the ball's a magnet to his feet at the moment. Economides, and that one's deflected out for a corner.
And hasn't he done that well, Luke Bratton? You know, we talk about him, what a great operator he is with the football. But the amount of times that, you know, when Raiders turn the ball over, how many times has it gone to him? You know, he's just in front of that back four, whether it's on the right-hand side of that centre circle or the left-hand side. He's the one invariably getting on the ball and resetting the attack for Macarthur. It's great to watch.
And they do have a corner kick. They weren't really able to capitalise on their corners in the first half. They did score from a free kick, but the corners were dealt with ably enough. This one's a high looping ball, and Sawyer was hunting his second of the night as the header slides wide at the back post.
Good delivery. Harrison Sawyer got up, getting another sighter on goal there.
And so activity on the bench. It's going to be Jonathan Subratu and also James Letter, whose numbers are up here for the Southern Districts. And they're going to bring on Mihail Marcic, the number 7. And it also looks like it's Thomas Santa Rosa, the number 13, coming on. So a centre-back and a right-back make way. And is this going to lead to a bit of positional reshuffling, or are we going to see like for like? As we'll find out in a moment here as this double change goes through. Looks as though Santa Rosa has come in at right back. So we wait for a pass out of defence here. Knezovic, 3 changes now made by the Raiders. Hannigan is going to take the game on here. A promising forward dash. He switches over to the right side and a volley. High and wide. What an introduction off the bench, though, for Mihail Marcic. He just couldn't get the technique right.
Again, positive play. Cooper Hannigan down this left-hand side. It started to open up for him, and he played a lovely ball across to the far side, and first time on the volley would have been a beautiful goal.
Marcic, who has only scored 2 goals in the league this season, but crucially he scored against Blacktown City in the game that qualified the Southern Districts for this national round tie and their first ever visit to this stage. And we're going to see him explode into the game again. Not quite. It's kept away by a series of headers. Everett onto the head of Uscock. Caceres. Bernardo. Rose. Bevan with energy. Won the ball away from Sawyer, but then volunteered it straight back to Bratton. And his bending pass is perfect for Economides. Look at Politaitis busting along through the middle. He's going to be ignored here, though, because there are options in the centre of the pitch. Caceres. Now he sees Harry Politaitis and goes out to him at the edge of the penalty area. That pass a little bit shallow. Nicking in is Marcic. Riley Cox-Barlow sent to the ground. The referee doesn't pay the free kick, though. Politaitis has Economides. Little drag step was clever, trying to lose the attentions of the defender, who came back in with a bit of energy, and ultimately you got to say well done to Charlie Ragg there for not conceding a foul and winning a goal kick.
You have to think, though, as well, when you come up against a team of a higher calibre, which no doubt Macarthur are, it's really important that your number 9, when you're the lower ranked team, gets hold of the ball and gives your team a chance to get up the pitch. And unfortunately tonight so far for Riley Cox-Barlow, he's been finding it difficult with the strength they have at the back for Macarthur.
Mihail Marcic, we saw him with that volley just a moment ago, but he can't free his feet here. The cross still twists its way into the box. It was aggressively swung into the area by Malfour, but he couldn't find a teammate. Well, good stand-up defending from Hannigan. Everett. He's going to shoot from distance.
Oh,
Curto, who's been a spectator until this point of the second half, and well, he didn't need the arms in the end and watched it flash wide of the post.
Very unlucky there for me. I thought they're two best tonight so far, linking up. Cooper Hannigan, nice ball inside, drop of the shoulder from Lockie Everett. I tell you what, it wasn't far away.
Sawyer. And a little overzealous trying to win possession. Malfora quickly gets the ball back to his teammate to reset. Taken quickly by McGrath. Maybe a little too hurried as far as the Raiders are concerned because they've coughed up the ball. And now it is swung over to Chris Economidis on the left flank. Economidis turns onto his right, leaves it with Caceres instead. It's given the Raiders defence the chance to get back in position. Bratton. And Caceres. Quick touch from Economidis. And here he is on the ball. Jinx left, and it's a corner kick coming up. Or is it? Nope, offside flag. And so Macarthur are getting a double change ready. It's going to be Dean Bosniak, the young attacker, coming on, and also Zane Helway, who has scored 14 in 18 in the NPL this season. It's been a reason that the Bulls Academy is still very much in the promotion picture, having missed out last season in the promotion relegation playoff against the Central Coast Mariners A-League Academy. They were relegated 2 seasons ago out of the top flight and missed out on returning at the first time of asking because of Central Coast. They're back in the mix again this season, and Helway is one of the reasons why. Anyway, that's for the next phase in play. We're going to see this double change now. It looks as though we are. So who makes way for this young attacking duo? It's going to be Harry Sawyer, having scored the 3rd goal of the night, and also Bernardo having netted in the first half. Roy O'Donovan, what do you make of the double change here for the Bulls?
Yeah, understandable, and I like the idea of Mile blooding these youngsters now, and I'm actually looking forward to watching the two of them play. They're, as you've just touched on, they've been tipped for bright futures, so we get to get an extended look at them tonight, which is great.
Well, Bosniak, who would be looking forward, he hopes, to going to the Under-20 World Cup in a couple of months' time, having been part of the successful Under-20 Asian Cup during the year. And Zane Helway, 19 years old, originally a Marconi junior, so when I mentioned off the top of the show, this is the hotbed of talent, Sydney's western and southwestern suburbs. He's a local. I'm sure he'll have plenty of fans here and family watching him play. And he actually has a goal against the Raiders back in April during NPL season. So he knows what it's like to find the back of the net against them here. And he is slotted straight into the team. Hannigan keeps the ball in. Bouncing past Caceres. Rose running from deep and committing a foul. So the Raiders get a chance to venture forward. McGrath. Still at the feet of Lachlan McGrath. He's only got one outlet, and that is Cooper Hannigan. Sends it into the middle, and Rose does trip over Lachlan Everett there. We haven't seen a card in the game so far. It's largely been pretty well behaved. Hannigan lofts a high diagonal ball. Politides running in between 2 players. Headed it straight out. It's good to see both grandstands are still full. There's still a very healthy contingent of fans behind the goal at the left of screen, and even some fans now ringing the fence at the right of screen too. It's been a good night out. Will they see the nominal home side here, though, score a goal? Pass is intercepted by Talbot. Didn't like the idea of a back pass of his own, though. Caceres. First involvement for Bosniak, and now the through ball. Economidis trying to split the difference between keeper and defence. And that will be cleared out over the perimeter fence.
And you can see Lachlan McGrath there is very frustrated because he needs a striker to show. He's got the ball a few times now, and he feels like there's no options there other than to go back to the keeper. And the one time he tries to play forward, the striker made a run in behind when it wasn't really on. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Strikers getting hold of that football.
McGrath. Hannigan. Bold dash initially, but came unstuck at the feet of Rose. And now Caceres, as fast as we've seen him sprint all game, sends it to Bosniak on the right. Bosniak, a deflected cross, and Economides finds a way through. It's set up nicely for him. And Chris Economides nets at the right-hand post to make it 4-0.
Yeah, and Bosniak just on the park. A turnover from Raiders, comes to Bosniak. A little bit of trickery on the right wing, goes through the legs, and you got to say, like, Economides unmarked in the box. That's criminal defending. But he does what any good striker does, and he puts it in the net. No matter how ugly, they all count the same.
Well, we've seen him prominently on the ball on that left flank, but it is one of his specialties that he's very evasive and unassuming, and when he plays in that number 9 role, he can just pop up in the penalty area. And sure enough, his evasiveness there was able to lose the attention of all the defenders and make it 4. And so 2 goals in each half now for Macarthur, with still plenty of time on the clock here. Bosniak with a promising introduction as well.
And you see what I mean? The lack of options every time the centre-backs get the ball. He's looking now, and look, you're forcing the pass. Actually done really well there. Commentators cursed there, that here.
Well, but for the right reasons, Knezovic gets the Raiders moving, and now can they get something happening on the right wing? They can't. Cox Barlow was taking on 2 defenders. Bratton forced back into his own penalty area, and now possession given away quite high up the pitch. It's driven to the edge of the area. The referee waves away a handball shout. McGrath pressing forward. Now Hannigan. We know he can swing in a ball. And he wasted no time at all, but it was deflected immediately by Bosniak. Hannigan gets a second chance, and Bosniak just desire there showing as he powers onto the ball. And now Economides, the most recent goal scorer. Caceres, Bosniak, and Economides. Some hefty challenges going in, and well, Knezovic has looked a little bit more legal than one of the ones in the build-up, but the referee's seen enough to say it's a foul. Yeah, but look, again, good teamwork when the ball was turned over. Good teamwork from Raiders, and they hunted to get it back, and okay, it was a foul, but you know, they're working in the right direction. Uskok. All the way back to his goalkeeper, Philip Curto. Another double change is being readied by the Raiders. Krislovic's long ball. He raises a hand in apology to Bosniak there as that one ran away from him down to the keeper. It's going to be Matthew Lee and also Yuto Sugura who are coming on at the next break for the Raiders. Fresh legs. Of course, they've got a weekend game to think about as well in their promotion race. Bratton tries to split the defence with a killer pass. It very nearly worked out, and it's cleared away. That was a good, brave, bold run there, though, coming through from Zane Helway, who nearly got on the end of it. Rose sends it out to the left. Politides. Economides at the edge of the box. The return pass just a little off, and that allows Figueira to clear. Uskok stooped into the ball. Macarthur have still got numbers committed forward here. Zane Helway showing his skills. And that's good, strong midfield play from Knezovic, but then the pass was a letdown. Politidis and Bosniak, he willed himself to the front, and he did make contact with a shot that's gone wide. We've seen that a few times tonight, Roy. You know, players have a good first touch. They do well to win the ball, but then the pressure of then having to find a teammate with the pass is just one task too many. Tell us, the challenges that players face when they have to go up a level, and they might do 2 or 3 things nicely, but you have to do everything perfect to actually stay in possession.
And that's the big learning for them tonight, really. I think they've done in parts of this game really well, and as you said, that kind of desire to win the ball back, work as a team, but it's that end product.
Hannigan's gone on a venturing run here, offside though, and that is going to lead us to 2 more substitutions. Mile Stojovski is in conversation with his own coaching staff as the remainder of his bench warm up behind the goal at the right of screen, and so it gives us the chance to welcome Yuto Sugura, the number 9, and also Matthew Lee, the number 15, and they're coming on here for Lachlan Everett. And as I scan my eyes around for the other player coming off, it is Riley Cox-Barlow, who will feel as though he could have left tonight with an assist, or maybe just a moment, just a couple of, you wouldn't even call them half chances, quarter chances for Raiders that teased, but you talk about end product, they just couldn't seize those little moments.
I thought early on in the game, Riley Cox-Barlow's movement was terrific. His energy to close down the Macarthur centre-backs was outstanding, but because he never got any real proper service, he burnt all his energy in the wrong places, unfortunately for him.
So double change comes through. Here is Hannigan on the ball, back to McGrath. Segura has scored 4 times in the league this season. He appears to be leading the line immediately, while Lee has come on in the centre of midfield. Helway with a pass to Politidis. Bides his time at the edge of the area though. Caceres. Oliver Randazzo is getting ready to come on. 4th official Ben Abraham has got the bat signal from the referee, and it's going to be a double change. Randazzo is the first player up to the 4th official, and he'll replace Callum Talbot here. And also an opportunity for 19-year-old Will Mackay. 14 appearances in the NPL this season as a youngster from the Sutherland Shire, from the Sharks. He's also come through at the Wanderers youth, but as you so often see, players that don't work out at one academy often try their luck at another, and it's going to be Liam Rose, the other player, coming off. So that'll be like for like in midfield. Randazzo for Lee, and then Mackay coming on at full-back, and we get to see what the 19-year-old can do. And we flagged it at half-time, Roy. Every time Mile Stojovski makes a sub, his team gets a lot younger and a lot less experienced.
Absolutely, but this is the luxury of the position they find themselves in. He can blood these youngsters and give them, a feel of what it's like to be in the first grade.
So Mackay, his flank, involved straight away. He's come on at right back. Here's McGrath. And straight after making a double sub, a couple of them in more defensive positions, is this where the Raiders can try to strike and at least leave with a goal. Cross in from the right, a volley attempted by Segura, and it is sliding off his boot rather than being wrapped around the ball. Little half chance though. They did get a cross in and attempted a shot.
More like it, more like it. I want to see more of that now. If they're going to finish the game, go out swinging.
Bratton has to deal with the back pass, but he does so ably, and Uskok now finds Bratton in plenty of space. Mackay, first time ball, has to go back and try to win it again. Bosniak backing his pace. He's going to take on McGrath here. He's on the ball now, on the right wing. Dean Bosniak left it behind. However, Mackay was following in every step of the way. Good header to clear from Bevan. That's clever from Malfra. Tried the rainbow kick to his own advantage. Bratton wasn't going to let him advance any further, though, and wins a free kick.
That's about the 50th time tonight we've seen Bratton win the same kind of ball. And even when he wasn't in control of the situation, he made sure he put his body in a place where he won the foul. Just a very intelligent football player.
Now here he is in possession. Randazzo, Mackay, Krislovic, and Uskok. Bratton. Caceres, still full of running, has broken the back line, and the flag stays down. Caceres, well, slid it in, and it's been defended away. It was Helway arriving late, who couldn't quite get a goal-bound touch. Just when it looked like I thought he was going to shoot on the tight angle. You see a little shimmy on this left side. Helway is going to win a corner kick. I think he was waiting for Figueira to commit, and maybe was inspired by, I don't know if you saw the Aitana Bonmati goal at the Euros where she caught the keeper out and scored on the tight angle. He was trying to recreate it there, Caceres, I reckon.
Yeah, I think he had something like that in the back of his mind, but at the same time, Economidis was pulling to the back stick and he was just waiting to see that opening kind of transpire, but unfortunate in the end.
Maybe it should have been a goal for Macarthur. The chance went begging, but they do have a corner kick. They've taken their time, waiting for Luke Bratton to walk into position. Are they going for a short corner? They are. Let's see what the routine variety has in store. Politidis recycles the ball back out. Bratton from the corner of the box. And it's catching practice for Figueira, who, in spite of Uskok running into his line of sight, was still able to pluck the ball out of the air. Good Hannigan. He's got a great engine. He's still sprinting. But he's not able to find a great deal of support ahead of the ball. Lee has done well and draws a foul from Bosniak.
I think you're right. I have to agree with you with Cooper Hannigan tonight. I think he's been outstanding on this left-hand side. He's still giving it 100% and he hasn't given up hope.
Tomislav Uskok. Bratton. Caceres. Now here's Mackay. And he's demanding the ball back. No lack of confidence in the youngster to call to Caceres for the return pass. And then he tried to return the favour himself, but it was blocked away. And who else but Hannigan, who wills himself onto the ball. And then he's not able to beat Krislovic with the pass.
That'll be a frustration as well, I think, for Goran Laboya tonight. I think with a young defender who hasn't played a lot of first-team football in Krislovic, they haven't really tested him down that side enough. And he'll come off this game having barely broken a sweat in a game he was probably very nervous coming into.
Here he is, the 18-year-old. Back pass here, just a little shallow. Makes Curto hustle for the final step out of his penalty area, but he did clear it in time. So here's Tom Santarossa. And that pass is going to come up shallow for his teammates. Economides sees Harry Politidis. His GPS will be exploding out the back of his jersey here. He's done so much running. And now plays it on to Zane Helway. Back to Politidis. Loses possession at the edge of the box. So a rare, unsuccessful forward foray for him on what's been a pretty strong night. Sugura had Raiders' most recent chance, an attempted volley. You can see how heavily bandaged just above his knee is. The thigh or the hamstring, definitely a concern, perhaps why he's on limited minutes tonight, the number 9. Didn't want to miss the chance to come out and, like the rest of his teammates, test himself against an A-League opponent. Crossfield ball from Hannigan, and now Marcic. And, well, it's not his foul, it's going the other way. And Mihail Marcic, who came on in a bit of a blaze of glory, had the volley wide and then was involved in a cross from the right, but we've barely called his name since, and he's just been waiting for a chance to get back into the game. Yeah,
well, good movement from him there as well. I think he's unlucky here to give away the free kick. His touch was decent. bit of a tangle of bodies. I didn't see much in that. But, yeah, he's added something to the game, definitely with his energy.
Mackay. Bosniak trying to protect the ball, and well, Hannigan not able to win a throw-in for his team. Pass all the way back to Curto. Mackay waited for the ball, and he waited nicely there. Randazzo, Bratton, and that's really well done by Ole Randazzo, and now he's streaming through midfield. Sends the ball to the left side. Helway keeps it moving. Politides with a bit of explosion, and he wins a corner thanks to his burst down that left side.
Well, that's going to be a concern for a lot of A-League teams that come up against Macarthur Bulls this year, is that speed they have in transition. Really, from one side of the pitch to the other, literally in the blink of an eye. The pace they have now with Politides, Economides, and all these young ones as well to add to that.
I'll tell you what, whoever gets Macarthur in the round of 16 will be grabbing the tape and probably be thinking, hang on, am I watching a round of 32 game here? Because not only is it a strong team, they have come out with a degree of sharpness, and they seem intent on running this out. Can they add yet another goal? In swinging corner from Bratton, and a good claim in the air from Figuera after it cleared Bosniak, who was the closest attacker to the ball. Overarm throw out to Hannigan.
Michael Figuera, though, he's been really good tonight. His distribution has been decent. He's come and claimed a lot of balls and taken the pressure off his defence. He's been really good for me. Some good saves as well in the first half, if you can remember that far back.
And here is Hannigan venturing forward. Wants his right side. Doesn't like the options ahead of the ball. McGrath. Bevan. Malfaro. He's going to try to weave through midfield, and he was going to ground, perhaps asking but not receiving a free kick from the referee, and it just slid away off his outstretched right foot down to the goalkeeper, Philip Curto.
Philip Curto must be colder than you and me here, Theo.
Well, he's a pretty cool customer. We know that when he's on, he can produce, I think, the best individual game you'll see from a goalkeeper for the season, maybe even from a player for the entire season. Curto, tonight's not been one of those nights where he's been needed too much. The ball's going to sit up here, and it is a goal in Macarthur colours for Anthony Caceres. He drives it through the penalty area chaos, and Macarthur continue to build the score. They have not let up tonight, and Anthony Caceres adds his name to the scorers.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody deserves a goal more than him tonight. I think he's been outstanding. He looks like he's played with Macarthur all his life. They got to the end line. Lucky to come back to him. But he was there, Johnny on the spot, and he took it well. Lovely little cutback, Zane Helwa.
Well, Economides will get the assist for the little backheel touch. And Harry Politides will take his leave. He comes off with a few minutes to go. And on comes Walter Scott. It is just the one change, though. Other players coming over to the bench to grab a drink, or I think in Thomas Lavuskok's case, it might have even been a little preemptive bit of pickle juice. And so it's 5 at the moment, and certainly the Raiders will be hoping that it doesn't end up becoming more. They've got a man down here. We've barely had a delay in this game. We only had 1 minute of stoppage in the first half. So we might have a little bit more tagged on here because the trainer is out. And I think it is Mihail Macic who is receiving this treatment at the moment. I think that was a thumbs up to the bench as well. Yep, it's Macic who's back on his feet. So with Politides getting subbed off, who's your man of the match, Roy O'Donovan? I guess you've got a range of goal scorers to choose from, a lot of good contributors, but if you had to narrow it down, of course, the Michael Cockrell medal will be awarded at the end of the Cup for the best player outside the A-League, but I imagine that it's a Macarthur player who might be on your mind for player of the match honours tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely a Macarthur player, and I think there's two players in particular. I think they've ran the game from start to finish tonight, the two experienced players in Anthony Caceres and Luke Bratton. As I said, they're like an old married couple. They've been together a long time, and Caceres going forward has been outstanding, but the work Luke Bratton has done in the transition and stopping attacks for the Raiders, he's been outstanding as well. So, yeah, you're going to put me on the spot? Good, I got to pick one?
Oh, but we've got 5-6 minutes to go, plus stoppage. So there might be time for...
I might change my mind, yeah.
One more goal, one more assist. Of course, Bratton swung in the free kick that led to the own goal for 2-0, and we see Marcic here. He's just received some treatment. He's still got some juice in the legs. He crosses it in, and Segura was coming from just a little bit too deep. And the Macarthur defenders closed ranks around the ball and were able to clear it, and they don't even concede a corner kick. They want to give up nothing at the end of the night here. As Mackay loses out to Flanagan. Lee. Hannigan here. McGrath. Long chain of passes now for the Raiders, and Hannigan is going to run onto the end of the ball. Puts in a cross. Malfra leaping against Uskok. The follow-up from Knezovic. It's going to fall kindly here. Marcic couldn't quite free his feet for a shot. Knezovic, can he find a teammate? He wants to wheel around and face, and ultimately he runs out of room against the line.
Best passage of play, though, in the whole game, I would say, for SD Raiders. They moved the ball at pace, they switched it, they got in behind, they got a cross in the box. I actually think sometimes you make substitutions in a game, it can ruin the flow, but if anything, it's kind of added something to Raiders.
Krizlovic here. And now Mackay. A clean sheet, if they hold it for Macarthur, will mean that much more to the youngsters that are out there on the pitch than some of the more seasoned veterans who have played their role in scoring 5 the other way. When you're striving for every possible minute of game time, you don't want to be the ones out there when you do concede. And it might be coming here. Santa Rosa squares it and turned behind for a corner kick by Bratton. Raiders want to leave with something here.
Absolutely,
they want a goal.
Yeah, look, I must say, since he's made these substitutions, they look like they're kind of playing with that little bit of a, we have nothing to lose now, let's go and play. And they're getting hold of the ball. Segura has made a difference when he's come on, as has Lee. Yeah, unlucky. Good defending by Bratton again.
And the corner kick to be taken by Sebastian Malfara, who's been full of energy and ideas and creativity tonight. However, that corner is a very conventional claim for Philip Curto. Scott, the most recent Macarthur sub to come on. Bratton, Randazzo. With the departure of Holman, he'll be hoping for that first summons off the bench and the chance to start if one of Bratton or Caceres is a little worn down or has a knock. And he's another one who's in contention to go away to the Under-20 World Cup.
It's great to see, though, that they've got that conveyor belt of talent coming through at Macarthur. And what will please Mile Stojovski tonight as well, all of the young ones that have come on, they've added something to the game. They've added a bit of personality, and they've put a thought in his mind for picking his next side in the next round.
Well, in this hot spot of talent, you can't help but think that amongst the 2,000 plus here tonight at Fairfield Showgrounds, that there would be some youngsters who are starting their football journey who will end up playing for the Macarthur Bulls one day, and they'll say, one of the first games I remember was coming out and watching them play in the Cup here. The likes of recently capped Socceroos, Caceres and Bratton. As we see a clearance here, and the clean sheet remains intact with only minutes to go here. Can the Raiders score a goal?
But it's been a good cup game. I've enjoyed it. I think the crowd that came in tonight, even though Raiders have lost and they were hoping for an upset, I think they've given their all and they've given the best account of themselves, you know. Possibly at times they've turned over cheap possession and they'll be disappointed with the goals they conceded. But ultimately, the result is a fair one, and Macarthur showed their class tonight.
Oh, and if you only end up watching a 3-minute highlights package of this game and you see the way the first 2 goals were conceded, you think, it's a mismatch, it's comedy capers. But those 4 minutes sadly belie the application that the Raiders had for so much of the first half. Just a lapse was ultimately what decided this match. And not a surprise then, as we see a really good challenge from Santa Rosa here, that the A-League professionals have gone on with the job in the second half once the tension of a 0-0 scoreline was taken out of the game.
And that's what it's been, a professional job.
So, fourth official about to hoist the board here at the end of this contest. If you're Macarthur, it could be another A-League opponent in the draw. It could be another third-tier team. Nunawading City, not even from the second tier in Victoria, in the third tier are still waiting in the round of 16, having seen off Darwin Olympic last week. So it could be as wide a disparity in potential opponents as you could ask for, and I'm sure they'll be keenly watching on tomorrow night after the remaining ties in the round of 32 are completed. Of course, if you're on this match, don't forget that there's a later game tonight. Olympic Kingsway against Melbourne Victory being played over in WA. Here's Malfora. Into the box he goes. Is this the chance for the Raiders? Weighs up his options here. Sebastian Malfora wants his right. Blocked immediately. Off the chest, and there's a wall of players he can't get through. Now a shot, and Lee this time. Oh, it's wiped out Krislovic. And he's on his haunches. He maybe got the ball right on the point of the nose or to the mouth there as he successfully deflected it away, but I'm not seeing any blood, so that's good news for him.
Yeah, they hurt, those ones, from close range. Malfara, you know, you just don't get that time at this level, unfortunately, but it broke. And he's hit it well, Lee, but he's taken that full in the face. But he looks all right.
Now his teeth are still there, and his nose is still pointing out rather than flattened. So,
but for how long? As a centre back? Now, in the modern game, it's different, isn't it? It's a lot more. Maybe the referees are a lot more about the player welfare now, and maybe in the good old days, a centre half had to take a few more elbows than they have to do in the modern game.
3 additional minutes to end the night. So we've only had a brief delay. Marcic was treated about 10 minutes ago, and now just a quick assessment. You wouldn't even call it treatment for Sebastian Krislovic. And how important a role could he potentially play as Macarthur trying to advance through this competition and defend their trophy? And so stoppage time only here for the Southern Districts Raiders to try and score a goal and have a signature moment to remember their night in the Australia Cup round of 32 by. Rolled out here from Curto, not exactly to Uskok's advantage. Krislovic has returned to the pitch. He's in working order. And now Bratton. Economides was shoved. McGrath. Malfora, can he find a teammate? He's able to squeeze out of a bit of traffic and find Marcic. He's attempted a cross. Look at Malfora running onto the return ball, and he did get there first, but he was already falling off balance as he did so. Marcic pressing from the front, has Knezovic there with him, but it is cleared. Bratton at the edge of the box, he's been caught in possession. Sugura, and now he squares it. McGrath. Well, Macarthur have had to switch on right at the end of the night here. Hannigan, long diagonal ball. Marcic's header, and now Uskok is the veteran presence at the centre of defence. And he finds Randazzo, who breaks away, and a grab of the shirt with no subtlety will lead to a free kick that allows Macarthur to exhale. Well, they had to just do one little last bit of work right at the end of the night to preserve the clean sheet.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's all credit to the Raiders tonight. They've kept going, and the scoreline probably doesn't do them any justice, but they've gave a good account of themselves overall. What I've been impressed with Macarthur is, even when they do turn the ball over, the amount of white shirts to get back behind the ball in quick time as well. It's good signs for them moving into this season.
Bratton. Randazzo. Is there a sting in the tail here at the end of the night? Not if Lee has anything to do with it. Marcic. Now Helway. Scott in a tangle over on the left. And it is going to be a Raiders throw. And that might be enough to prevent any further damage to the score sheet. Uskok. Economidis. Luke Bratton on the ball. Caceres. They're both going to play the full game tonight. The centre midfield pair. And the cup defence couldn't have started much better for Macarthur FC. The holders advance with 5 goals to their name. 2 in a 4-minute burst in the first half put them in control. And then Harry Sawyer's third 4 minutes into the second half. Reflective of what the eyes showed us through the course of the game.
Yeah, possession 60-40, slightly better than it was at half-time, but you look at the successful passes here, 507 from Macarthur. They really made the Raiders run around tonight and burn off that energy in the wrong parts of the field, but we just see the Raiders here in a circle. And
tomorrow night, don't forget, Apia Leichhardt against Melbourne City. Are we finally going to get a cup set in this round of 32? An all A-League battle between the Jets and Adelaide United. Canberra, Croatia take on Metro Stars of South Australia. And Roy, you and I will be on the all-Brisbane clash between Brisbane City and Olympic FC. So I'm looking forward to that on a night where we'll have 4 more games in action.
Exciting times. Great to be alive, Theo.
And here here is the finale for the Southern Districts Raiders. They still have promotion to go and chase in Football New South Wales League One. They were game opposition tonight, but ultimately it's Macarthur FC, the holders, that go.